the breath, our first biohacking tool, is good because we already talked about the breathing so far in several presentations. So thank you very much for the introduction. So I'm the founder and CEO of Inspire Potential at the Inspire Academy, and I wrote two best-selling books about breathing in France and now also translated in Italy. I work with tools such as breathing, cold exposure, heat exposure, hormesis, meditation, movement, and natural biohacking, I would say. That's how I met Gabriele in the mountains of Stelvio at a Wim Hof Method and biohacking retreat. You can find that in the book that you have just in front of you. So we all do something that is quite straightforward, yet very important. We don't think about it. We give it for granted, and this is breathing. And I would like to start, so I get your attention, I think, with a simple exercise, tool, or game, as you wish, with no stress. Just a simple one to play with. And the game is you inhale, you exhale, and you stop, you hold. Now we'll start counting, and then when you need to breathe, you just breathe in. So no stress, really. We're not going to do complicated exercise. So let's start in 2 seconds. Breathe in, breathe out, and now hold. And I will count, and then you just breathe in when you need. We are now at 5 seconds. Really no stress, just 10 seconds. It's going to take some time to see how this is going to evolve in your body. 15 seconds. We are going to be now in 20 seconds. And now 25 seconds. 30 seconds. Just a little bit more, just to count. Not just a competition. 35. And maybe you already inhale, and 40, we'll stop here. Right, it was not a competition about breath hold, even if it would be fun, but it was just to realize that we just stayed 30, 40, 20 seconds without breathing, and it was already difficult. And the question is, what if we don't have this breathing tool with us? It's going to be a challenge very soon. We cannot stop breathing, yet we really give it for granted. It's essential to life, but very few people know how to do it strategically and functionally, and that's a pity. So some facts about breathing. You start when you cry, when you are born, and you stop when you do the last exhale, l'ultimo sospiro, we say in Italian. We cannot stop for more than, we say, 3 minutes. We say 3 days without drinking, 3 weeks without eating, but it's 3 minutes without breathing. We do it 25,000 times a day. This is about 15 kilos of air we breathe. And yet, in 2017, the scientific papers showed that 9 out of 10 people in the world today don't breathe correctly. The link with the traditional knowledge. The origin of the word breathing or breath in Latin is spiritus, breath of life, Holy Spirit, life force, the soul. So we see there is a link with some knowledge over there. And maybe you are interested to know that the Ave Maria is, when it's said to the proper rhythm, is about 6 breaths per minute in a regular frequency of 0.1 Hertz. Why is that relevant? Because this is the same frequency of the cardiac coherence technique that now is very well studied by the HeartMath Institute and has been shown to be able, with a similar technique, to change the DNA structure. So prayer and breathing are healing tools. About science. Today, science says that there is one most predicted tool to predict lifespan and longevity, and this is the lungs capacity and our breathing capacity. This is more predictive even than the cardiovascular health of a person. And in some traditions, for example, we mentioned yoga, in India, they say we don't have a number of days in life, we have a number of breaths. And how you use it really is going to determine the longevity and the lifespan you have on Earth. There is an interesting study and research committee in the United States from Huberman, Attia, and Stanford studying that, if you're interested. But maybe now it can be a little bit far from everyday life breathing, so let's make a second exercise that hopefully will show you that breathing is really accessible for everyone. So I will guide you for just 1 minute, very simple exercise, and just follow if you want to make a rest, just make a rest. So I invite you first to do some big breaths with a sigh of exhale, and then a rhythm that I use to relax, just to see if this is gonna affect you, or maybe not, but maybe yeah. So let's start. You breathe in, you hold, 2, 3, you exhale. And then again, you inhale, you hold, 1, 2, 3, exhale. We do it a third time, inhale, hold, 1, 2, 3, exhale. And I'm gonna guide you through a rhythm. Breathe in, 2, 3, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in for 2, 3, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in. 2, 3, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last 2 in, 2, 3, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last one, breathing in and breathing out. 4, 5, 6. Just take a second and observe. Maybe you feel different. Maybe you feel just a little more anchored and relaxed, or maybe not. But we just did a small minute sort of breathing. And this is to show you that we can control our breathing. So we do it every day. We don't pay attention to it, but if we want, we can control it. That's why I would say that breathing is our first biohacking tool that humanity, the human, has. And mainly, I would say, at zero cost and in prevention phase. So it's quite interesting. And to sum up, in the latest scientific studies, for example, the Cells magazine, Huberman and Spiegel did a study to analyze how breathing can help for emotional regulation and stress management, that are 2 things that today are quite relevant. And they analyzed 3 basic breathing techniques. And they find out that 5 minutes of breathing were 600 times more efficient than meditation. And we already know that meditation is very effective, but it's a bit long. We say 30 minutes of meditation is at least to have a result, and they found that 5 minutes, so 600 times more effective, or say faster, if you want so. So you can see that Huberman, Spiegel in Cells, Nature, 2023. So breath is really a self-mastery and regulation tool, and we can use it to change in everyday life, and I would say for a better living. It's really something practical that we do if we know how to do it. So what's in there for you? I would just invite you to raise a little bit consciousness that the breath, it is a real tool that we can use to change the inside and the outside world. Thank you.